Okay, welcome back to Apollo Justice. Let's get straight into the game. Yeah.
I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. There were two shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. But it wasn't Mashi. It was a grown person. I know it was.
Okay.
So you did witness the crime. The killer was a grown person, you say?
Ah, this is my first time hearing this, I assure you. Nice play here, Forehead.
Very well, Mr. Justice, you may begin your cross-examination.
Great going, Apollo. You were right about La Mirar. What's wrong? You don't look too happy.
This whole thing smells fishy. That's what's wrong. Hold it! So you're heading towards the dressing room?
Yes.
This is a little before she opened the dressing room door and dropped her pooch. About the same time Emma and I heard those shots.
I was on my way back. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it.
What exactly is something like a little window?
Yes, well, window is the best word I know in English. I think this is how it's said, yes?
You need not worry, La Mirar. Your choice of words is impeccable. There is a small window in the dressing room in question. Perhaps the defense remembers this detail? That little window on the wall.
I saw the crime from there. There are two shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it.
You are certain you heard those two shots fired?
Yes, quite certain. I was on my way to the backstage exit. This was when I heard a faint sound like a gunshot. Wondering what it had been, I peered through the window. That is when I heard the second gunshot, much closer. Closer.
And there were two bullet holes at the scene. No contradiction so far.
It all happened on the other side of that window. There was nothing I could do.
But it wasn't Mashi. It wasn't Mashi who shot. Are you sure?
Yes, quite certain. Haha. It amuses me that you would question her testimony.
It is testimony in your favor. Isn't it my job to object? Yeah, Apollo, what were you thinking? Juicy, let's just listen to what La Mirar has to say. Can you tell me how you were so sure?
Yes, of course, you see. It was a grown person. I know it was.
A grown person? That's a little vague.
I'm sorry. My skill with your language is lacking, I know.
Certainly, you could at least see whether the shooter was male or female.
It was a man, a young man.
Are you sure of that?
Yes, his voice was quite clear.
Voice?
Looking at this diagram, it seems the dressing room was quite cluttered. It does seem likely that you wouldn't have had a clear view of the shooter.
As a singer, I rely more on my ears than my eyes. When I hear a voice, I do not forget it. That voice was the voice of a man.
So you heard a voice. But wait. Couldn't that have been the victim, Mr. Latouche?
Absolutely not. Did I not just say I do not forget a voice? If it was Mr. Latouche who spoke, I would have known.
Indeed. So you were at the window, and you heard the shooter's voice, the voice of a young man.
Apollo! Apollo, this is good testimony. That proves it wasn't Machi.
Indeed. If this turns out to be true, it would cast this case in a considerably different light. What is the defense's opinion of this testimony?
Well, the thing is, I don't know. Why would it be contradictory? I'm gonna say contradictory just because I can, but I don't quite know. Though it pains me to say this, there's something about Lamirar's testimony that rings false. Bravo, Herr Forehead. You're colder than I thought. I'm sure you remember what the problem is as well as I do, Gavin. As has been established, no grown man could pass through that air vent. He couldn't have fled the scene of the crime. Oh, that's it? So it's that simple? Okay.
But that means Lamirar has to be lying.
I know, and I know it's bad for our case, but I can't shut my eyes to this. Believe me, the idea was tempting. This is how Herr Forehead says. Yet, this is not the only contradiction within her testimony.
What's next? What's he talking about?
Lamirar understands why you would want to protect Machi. Yet remember, you are the siren of the ballad, and lies do not become such a creature.
What does the prosecution mean?
Apollo, what is he talking about?
How come no one bats an eye when he says stuff like that? I recall the state of the crime scene quite well.
The state of the room?
Yes, and then the murder took place. That window was closed. I find it hard to believe you could hear a voice through it.
What? But I'm sure.
Lamirar, I have nothing but the highest regard for your musical sense. But my opinion of you as a witness is somewhat lesser.
But she's the only eyewitness we have!
So you say, and the victim named her, the siren as the witness?
That's right! That's what Mr. Latouche...
We heard your claim. We even entertained the possibility. And it brought us to this. Herr Judge.
Yes?
The prosecution requests that the witness be excused. Please.
I'm afraid I must honor the prosecution's request. There is indeed a question of the witness' credibility.
But what if Lamirar can't testify? And we don't have a chance of proving Machi's innocent.
This cross-examination is over. Prosecutor Gavin, you may continue making your case.
Danke. Now where were we? Ah yes, I would like to hear from Fräulein Detective again.
Wait! Let me hear Lamirar's testimony one last time!
But the cross-examination is already over, until such a time as the need arises. This witness may leave the stand.
I'm sorry I could not be of more assistance. Oh. At last, back to the real trial. Ready here, Forehead?
Yeah, I hope I didn't just miss my only chance.
Fräulein Detective, how far had we gotten until we were so rudely interrupted?
Don't ask me.
I dislike saying the same thing twice, and I never repeat a song for an encore.
If you would, Miss Sky.
I believe I was saying that the only way Mr. Latouche's killer could have escaped was through that air vent on the ceiling.
Ah yes, there was only one door in the room, and a witness, you, was standing in front of it.
That air vent isn't very big, see? Kind of limits the people who could possibly get through.
I certainly would have. I certainly would have a difficult time.
You'll have to wake up.
You sure would. Not that you would be None of you would have been there in the first place, though. Remember, the whole backstage area was off limits to people who are not involved with the concert. The only one who meets the conditions for our killer is the defendant. A virtuoso performance. I couldn't have put it better myself.
She does state a clear case. Though, reading the report, something caught my eye.
Oh, what's that?
The circumstances of the defendant's arrest.
The circumstances? Again? Yeah, that's right, Apollo. Remember when he found Mashi? That was bizarre. She's right. Why did Mr. Latusse's body disappear from the room and end up on top of that stage tower, holding a guitar, no less?
A perceptive observation, Herr Judge.
Thanks. It was kind of an accident, really. But you work in this job long enough. You got a nose for things, sir.
The judge sure seems pleased with himself.
Very good, Fraulein Detective. Perhaps you can tie it all together for us. Why was the body moved? And how does that lead us to the killer?
The missing body. I believe Mashi stole the body because of some lyrics. He moved the body to match La Mirror's song. No one in this country had a motive to kill the victim, and Mashi practically left his signature at the scene. All of this evidence clearly points to the defendant.
Does it?
La Mirror's song?
Yes, the guitar serenade. You noticed its code too, did you not?
Its code?
All the events that day followed the lyrics to our song. Sugar, sugar. First, the key to my heart held on to so tightly was stolen. Then Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flames on stage. Mr. Latusse's life was taken by a bullet. The rest hardly needs explanation. Guitar, up together to the sky.
That's mad! It's like a story cut out of some fairy tale.
I admit, I'd forgotten about this song. How could you, Apollo? But there it is now, waiting for me, the grand finale, as it were. Hey, you know, I was the one who first noticed that.
I've heard of jumping rope to songs and counting to songs, but killing?
It's a fine thought out there, Herr Judge.
Very well. We've heard one song and dance. Let's get on to the next.
Calm down.
We've heard one song and the.
Oh, come on!
We've heard one song and dance. Let's get on to the next. The cross-examination.
I'm not so sure I'm going to be doing much singing. Hold it! Who'd steal a body just to match some lyrics? I didn't believe it myself, but it can't be just a coincidence.
It is as Fräulein Detective says. Let us begin with the first verse. If you were Fräulein Detective.
What? You want me to sing it?
You are the witness, yeah? Or did you want me to sing? I warn you, my fear as a vocalist is not trivial.
Fine. Let's look at the first part of the lyrics, shall we? When you stole away the keys, my heart held on so tight. My heart held on to so tight.
Indeed, my favorite heart-shaped keyring was stolen that morning.
Next we go to the right page of the lyric sheet, where we find burning on in my heart fire, burn my love away, all away. As we know, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar bursts into flame. Like a bullet of love, fire, take my life away, all away. Mr. Latus's life was taken by a bullet.
Bravo, Fräulein Detective. Your singing is not bad. I'm not even singing. It's. I can't. There's too much talking in between. Guitar, guitar, up together to the sky. As it says in the lyrics, Mr. Latus was found with a guitar high in the sky over the stage. No series of coincidences could be so well conceived.
He's right, scientifically speaking.
What Wakiev said. That concert was whack.
It's hard to argue when she pours her heart into it like that.
So apparently she sang very well, but
Anyway, the shooter.
hold it! Does the prosecution have any idea why he'd do all this?
From my scientific opinion, no clue. But he clearly had a reason to go through all that trouble. A deep reason.
A deep reason? Not only did he steal my keys, he torched my guitar. Unforgivable acts, even if he had a reason, and worse if he had none.
The diva's complaints aside, I can't imagine someone doing this on just a whim.
Fräulein Detective, I take offense at that description.
Indeed, it does seem too well rehearsed, shall we say.
Yes, this crime was planned for sure. No one in this country had a motive to kill the victim.
But Mr. Latou spoke English. He may have come to this country before.
I looked into that, I assure you.
Oh?
It was his first time in the country, it seems. Apparently, he learned English on his own. Just like me. I hope I won't be killed.
Great. You see, no one here had the motive to kill him, and certainly not in such an elaborate fashion.
It does seem difficult to imagine.
Unless our famous prosecutor did it as a publicity stunt.
What did you say?
Prosecutor Gavin, you did this to promote your song?
Of course not, and I am quite dismayed by the ludicrous nature of the claim. Why would I need promotion? Everyone already listens to my music.
And they're even in my textbook at school.
And I'd never heard of them. What does that say about me?
I was just kidding. Don't get all worked up, Glimmer Boy. Amachi practically left his signature at the scene.
What was his signature? What do you mean by his signature?
The bullet holes in the wall, of course.
The bullet holes?
The revolver was fired twice. One shot missed and left a hole in the wall.
And that means what exactly?
That dressing room isn't exactly spacious. Picture the shooter facing off with the victim in there. They can't have been more than 5 feet apart. It would be difficult, almost impossible to miss at that range.
Difficult to miss, you say?
Very. Assuming the shooter could properly aim.
No! You can't be serious!
Mashi, he can't see! That's why he missed? It's the only explanation that makes sense. He used sound and other senses to fire the gun. Poorly.
That reminds me, the monitor in that room was blaring at the time, yeah? Are the ideal conditions for tracking by sound.
A blind shooter. No wonder he missed.
I knew those bullet holes would come back to haunt me. Think, Justice, what do I do now? The thing about it is... Because... I lost the terminology. I don't remember how you would say that. God damn it, Fucking Google Translate it. Yeah. So, like, shooting that pistol should dislocate your arm. If Mashi doesn't have a dislocated arm, then that settles it. Sure, there were bullet holes left in the wall, but that doesn't prove the shooter couldn't see. What? Oh, how so? Well, there could have been a struggle with the victim.
That's certainly possible.
And it might have been the revolver's fault.
The revolver?
The revolver was a very large caliber, correct?
If the shooter wasn't used to firing such a large weapon, why it could dislocate their shoulder?
Exactly. The defendant Mashi Tobai is, as you can see, tiny. It is not hard to picture him firing the gun and missing entirely. The kickback alone would throw off his aim.
A convincing argument, to be sure.
Ha ha, take that, smug prosecution. Apollo? Oh, what? A bit about Mashi being tiny? And the gun throwing off his aim? Aren't you kind of, admitting that he did it? Oh. It does not matter why he missed. What matters is that the shooter was, without a doubt, the defendant. Even the defense seems to agree on that point. Eek! Cripes! I'm gonna put my foot in it this time! But let's get the facts of the matter on the record. If you would, Fräulein Detective.
Very well, the witness will add this to her testimony.
Right. I conclude the shooter was blind. You can't say he was blind just because of those bullet holes in the wall. I think I've proven that. I wouldn't call it proof, per se. Huh? You merely raised the possibility. Fräulein Detective has made a most logical conjecture based upon the evidence. Of course, there's more evidence than just bullet holes. The defendant was the only one who could have escaped through the air vent. But wait! If he was blind, how would he know about the air vent in the first place? Ah, very good point. Well, Fräulein Detective, if you would care to explain. He certainly seems sure of himself. Recall the crime scene, if you would. There was a stepladder below the air vent. As it happens, maintenance was scheduled for that day. Custodial staff went around checking all the air vents. I don't believe it. Everyone backstage was told about the maintenance, including Mashi Tobai. He would have known that there would be a way out at the top of that stepladder. But this was planned ahead, way before just that day. He had already stolen his keys. But that's... Why is this the first time I'm hearing about this? You could have figured it out for yourself. You only needed to consider what that stepladder was doing there.
Looks like the defense's objection has been squished by a stepladder.
Well, here, forehead? Other ammunition, perhaps? I've never seen prosecutors so aggressive. Maybe he's caught the scent of blood. Apollo, don't you have something? Anything? You know what we need? We need something to prove the killer could see. That'll put him in his place. Proving the shooter was sighted would do it. That would take down one of their central points. Do I have evidence that can prove that, though? Evidence that he could see. Wow, that's a very cluttered room. Is this it? I think it is. I've got just the thing! As I knew you would, here, forehead. What exactly am I up against here? The prosecution is saying the shooter missed because he or she can see. Therefore, Mashi, who is blind, did it.
The defense will please present their evidence.
Evidence that overturns prosecution's claim that the shooter couldn't see. I'm going to look through it again. There's the investigation request, the murder weapon, the brooch, mixing board. Let's just go with the diagram. Take that!
I'm not sure that overturns anything, Mr. Justice.
Wrong evidence, I'm guessing. But they both love, and justice are blind. I have to think there must be something, anything. This doesn't look so good, does it, Apollo? No, it doesn't. What do we... Whoops. First, we don't panic. Even though Mushy's case is leaking water by the gallon, Gavin's on a roll, and it's up to me to stop him. Okay. That's it. Press. Hold it. We've read about this, we've read this, we know this. And I'm gonna save the state here. I've got just the thing! Maybe the keys? Oh, I understand. Wait. Yeah. You had to have read the lyrics. Nope. Well. I've got just the thing. I know I'm cheating. Nothing here. Is it the keys? Well, what is it then? I have no idea. I have literally no idea. If I didn't have save states, I would get a game over. He didn't fire the gun like this. No. I'm just gonna go like trial and error. Not even trial. I'm just gonna like keep on presenting. Nope. Because I have no clue. The brooch. I mean... A deadly high caliber revolver. Not at the crime scene. Nope. The crime photo? Easy now, game. This is that evidence!
Photograph of the crime scene?
I don't care much for the smirk. What the fuck is wrong with you, emulator? I don't get it. There's nothing that should cause this. Anyway, I don't care much for the smirk on that prosecutor Gavin's face. But this is no time to think twice. Time to press on. Yes, Your Honor, the crime scene. There's something in here that decisively contradicts the prosecution's point. Then perhaps you'd best show us this something? Get your finger out of the breeze and put it to good use, yeah?
Very well. Show us what you're talking about, Mr. Justice.
I mean... This... I mean, this writing can be done by himself. He was still alive. He was still alive, so he knew about the things he held. I'm gonna say the writing. The contradiction is right here. Smeared bloodstains?
I thought it was just my blurry vision, but it really was blurry. The way the victim's hand is raised above his head, much like a gesture I have seen many times in court.
This is almost as if he wrote something?
Aha! I get it, at least I think I get it.
Get what, Fräulein?
When Mr. Latus was shot, he tried to write something.
And what would he write but the shooter's name? And what would he write? And what would he write it in but his own blood? Pretty good, huh? Thanks for making my point for me. Yes, in fact, that's what I think happened here.
That does seem to be a distinct possibility.
The victim wrote the killer's name. It's certainly a logical conclusion.
Drat, I just wish it wasn't all rubbed out like that.
Ah, so I had to be able to see that it was rubbed out. Okay. It's not like Mr. Latus made a stupid mistake while writing. Like he was too, he couldn't move his arm correctly while writing or something. Shit! Oh no! I'm dead. I'm almost dead, and I can't write correctly. Now I'm all like, eh.
Of course it's rubbed out. Why, if I were a killer, I certainly wouldn't want to leave my own name behind.
Neither would I. No one has anything else to say?
About what?
So the prosecution accepts this? You agree that this was the victim making an attempt to record the name of the killer? And that the killer tried to rub the name out?
What's your point?
What's my point? Let me ask you this! How did the killer know the victim was writing their name?
Well, Mr. Natus was writing something in blood. Once the killer saw what it was... Wait.
Once he saw what it was.
Well, what did you just testify about the shooter?
I said they were blind.
Ah! Yet the crime scene itself contradicts that. The killer had to have been able to see. Why would they rub out the name in blood otherwise? May I remind the court that the defendant Mashi Tobai is blind. It couldn't have been the shooter. Impossible!
Order, order, order! Prosecutor Gavin, please explain to me what all this means! I mean, looking at this photo, it seems quite clear that the shooter could see.
I just, showed, a possibility. What could have happened, but
Yet up until now,
It seems I owe the court an apology.
hmm?
The governors are a band with the law enforcement ties, yet a murder occurred during our concert. Apparently this caused some confusion over jurisdiction. As a result, some reports were not filed in an entirely timely manner. I'm not sure I like the vibe I'm getting here.
Hey, Apollo, look at him. Why is Prosecutor Gavin all relaxed and smiling like that? Like he knows something we don't, and he's about to tell us.
I've got an idea. Let's rock! With seized documents. But before that, I have a question for the Fräulein detective, if I may. Wow. The emulator doesn't like me today.
What?
I'm gonna save. Then exit. Start over.
What?
Still has that same problem. I don't understand. They actually I'm just gonna close a lot of tabs. Okay. Whoops. Why do you think that Mashi Tobai is blind? Well, maybe it's because I have the chat popped out. Why do you think that Mashi Tobai is blind?
Huh? What did he say? What are you saying? Of course he's blind.
Of course.
He's the blind pianist, right?
So he's...
Doesn't Let Me Ride lead him around by the hand all the time?
No way. I have a report here on the defendant Mashi Tobai. According to this, Mashi Tobai can see perfectly well.
What?
His blindness was merely a publicity ploy by those clever Borginians. He can see quite well.
But you said...
What did I say exactly? Therefore, not once in this court of this trial have I claimed the defendant was blind. The only one who did was Fräulein Detective.
But that's...
A significant fact, yes. Consider, Mashi Tobai sees, and he was the only one who could have fled through the air vent. I see no problem with this.
But what about the bullet holes in the wall?
Yes, the bullet holes. I believe Herr maybe will explain those for us. He didn't miss because he couldn't see. It was the kickback from the 45 caliber revolver. A simple accident in other words. How's that? I'm afraid your objection has just flown off for brighter skies.
This is where the real fun begins here, Forehead.
Bjorn!
I knew you didn't have what it took.
You jerk! Just what was I in here for? Comic relief? Yeah, apologize.
Oh, sorry.
There's no way to apologize.
He's anger juicy now. Look out.
If you can please enter Beckering now.
Whatever, I'm not leaving. I can't leave like this. I'll come up with some clue to solve this case if it kills me.
But your testimony has already given us enough to convict the defendant.
Don't say that. What? This bloodstain. The criminal tried to wipe it off, right?
That seems to be what happened, yes. We might be able to find out what was written there.
Really? You can do that?
That's right, with this. It's called luminol. Maybe you know of it? It's a chemical that reacts to blood. Ah yes, have we done those tests yet? As if I'm going to tell you. The bloodstains covered a section of the carpet. In order to perform blood tests, that section was removed and submitted. Perhaps we should request it in here. Request it here in court now.
Right, good. Go for it, Apollo.
Huh? I have to do the test?
You just have to spray the luminol on it. Simple. Just play a minigame here, right in court.
A chemical that reacts to blood. I've heard of this somewhere.
Yes, I believe an analysis is called for. Have at it.
Right. Ready? It's easy as pie. Just touch the screen to spray an area. Here, give it a try.
The eyes of the entire court are focused on me.
Apollo, your hand's shaking. Let's do this!
Spray luminol. That's interesting. Wow, it really works!
He managed to write a lot while he was dying. This must be the power of science. It says IPX is 314206. Is that the killer's name?
No, probably not.
Probably if the killer was a robot.
Aha, I have it.
So what is it?
I thought so that as IPXX looked familiar. This is an Interpol IT number.
Interpol? You mean the International Police Agency?
Yes, most are undercover agents working to solve international crimes. But 5 would be right to that number.
Why would Mr. Latouche even know a number like that?
Good show, Fräulein Detective. Rock on.
Eh?
Your Honor, we can verify this number immediately. Darian, are you there? Come up to the witness stand. Darian, you heard what we need, right? Go check this Interpol ID number.
Sure thing. Give me 30 minutes. No, give me 27.
I'm not sure what to think of all this. The prosecution's case is airtight, or so it seems. Yet if this number is really that of an Interpol agent...
Oh wait, I know. What if Mashi Tabai is really an undercover Interpol agent?
That would be a possibility.
A possibility, yes. And one that would mark him as the killer for certain.
How did Latouche know an Interpol ID number? That's what I want to know.
Well, we have some time while we wait for Diane's report. Let's work on unraveling another mystery, shall we? A curious mystery concerning Mashi Tobai.
What are you talking about?
Fräulein Detective, please accept my apologies. I received word that the defendant could in fact see just before the trial began. It seemed too much of a bother to tell you.
You had me until that last bit.
Does this not raise a rather straightforward question?
Well, sure. Why did Mashi pretend he couldn't see?
Exactly. It makes little sense. What do you think here, Forehead?
Huh, me?
Mashita Bai pretended he was blind. Do you know why?
How could he know? Wait, Prosecutor Gavin knows why, doesn't he?
He's known from the start of the... Wow, that is not Apollo's voice.
He's known from the start of the trial. He's been leading us on the whole time.
Is something wrong? Do you think perhaps this is all some kind of game? No, at the moment I heard that report, I knew why.
I suppose people who have sold over 1 million records really are something else.
What does that have to do with anything?
That was the reason why Mashita Bai pretended to be blind. But it wasn't for his own sake. Getting the picture now?
It wasn't for himself.
Well, Mr. Justice, you present evidence that shows us why the defendant had to feign blindness.
I haven't a clue.
I have no idea.
Yeah, Forrest, I'm disappointed in you. Unless you're merely feigning stupidity, yeah?
Keep it up, wise guy.
Recall the relationship of Lamira and Mashita Bai. In particular, their arrangement over the years before visiting our country.
Lamira?
Oh,
Whoops.
thanks for telling me.
Lamira and her pianist. They would always walk together, she leading him by the hand. Even when they got on stage, she would lead him to the piano. She would walk all the way over there with him.
That's right, because he was blind, or so we thought. She led him at all times. All times.
All times, hmm?
But you know now that Mashi could see perfectly well. Why keep up the charade?
Well, wasn't it part of their, performance?
There's a simpler explanation, here, Judge. Mashi did not need to be led by the hand at all, which means...
Ah! You don't mean...
I do. It was the other way around. The one who needed to be led by the hand was Lamira!
What's this? So you mean to say that Lamira she's...
Blind as a bat, here, Judge.
What? What?
Order, order, order! This is crazy, crazy, Prosecutor Gavin.
Yeah, wasn't she supposed to be the landscape painter in sound or something?
Well, since we have her here, why not ask Lamira herself? I believe she is still in the witness waiting room.
Apollo, what does this mean for our case? Don't ask me, I had no idea she couldn't see. I hadn't even imagined it until now.
Bailiff, bring in Lamira.
Lamira, it pains me deeply to call you before us again in this way, and yet I must.
Please do not be concerned on my behalf. Those eyes, she really can't see? Really?
It is true. How funny it is that a tiny lie, born in the Virginian countryside, would one day grow to entangle the entire world.
So you are...
Yes, as I mentioned before, I have no memory of the time before I became Lamira. Know too that my memories begin in dark. The word night has no meaning for Lamira.
I see.
You may recall me saying something towards the beginning of this trial here, Forehead.
What's that?
I believe I said it was unfortunate this crime had no direct witnesses. Ah, now Lamira, I must ask you to stand once more. Do you testify to the court about your eyes? Of course. It was never my intent to deceive any of you. May I begin, Your Honor?
Yes, of course. So I admit, I'm a little lost here.
I think we're all a little bit lost here, Your Honor.
Lamirar's eyes. I have no memory of the light. I debuted in a world of darkness and sound. The producer came up with my PR line before he knew this. So silly as it may sound, I had to pretend I could see. Everyone on my staff knew, of course, but no others.
Okay. My nose itches.
But this is a murder trial!
I apologize, it was part of my contract, you see. I have to keep my blindness a secret, no matter what. Music is everything for me. I never imagined something like this would...
She told us the truth since the beginning. Then she said she saw nothing.
Very well. Does the defense have anything to add?
I'd like to cross-examine.
But what is there left to ask?
There was one thing in her testimony that bothered me. Perhaps it is the best we let you get it out of your system. Someday you'll come to understand the importance of thinking for yourself.
Very well. The defense may proceed. However, be aware this court will not tolerate any questions deemed too stressful to the witness.
Okay. There's only one part that bothered me, so I can't press too much. Just let me ask about that and I'll be happy. Okay, so I need to press one part. World of Darkness and Sound. My producer came up with my PR line before he knew this. So silly as it may sound, I had to pretend I could see. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. What does it bother you? No memory of the light. A world of darkness and sound. A producer came up with my PR line before he knew this. Your producer. Perhaps your music reminded him of the Borginian scenery?
No, it was quite the opposite.
The opposite?
According to my producer, my music has a certain global quality.
Global?
Multicultural, if you will. Hard to pin in one region. When people listen to it, they picture the country closest to their hearts. This is why my music has reached so many.
What a lovely story.
Sounds like this producer might have known what he was doing after all.
My songs are nothing more than a white canvas. To me, the real landscape painter are the listeners.
My phone is buzzing. That's Twitter. Twatters. Who did the twatters?
And I think of that, I do not mind how I am represented to the world so much. If one thing quickly led to another.
Was that to protect your image as the landscape painter in sound?
But that does not matter so much to me, really. The label is quite concerned about it, I think.
A landscape painter who can't see is like a pianist who can't play, huh?
I'm not sure you can compare your father to Lamirar.
The world of commercial music is filled with these little white lies. Nothing is sacred when it comes to publicity.
Everyone on your staff knew. Everyone. Including Latouche? When you say your staff, do you include Mr. Latouche?
Of course, he was my manager.
So he knew, and that's what's been bugging me.
Something the matter, Mr. Justice?
I believe I know what is bothering our young defense attorney. You are thinking of when you discovered the body, yes?
Is he right, Apollo?
Yes, I was. Again! Again, the same flashback! It's the 5th time! The 5th time! Can you hear me? Cold, so cold. Witness. You're cold? Don't worry, you're going to be fine. Help is on the way. Can't see. Hang in there, Mr. Latouche. Tell me, who was the witness? The witness is Siren. Mr. Latouche told me to ask the witness, and he named you. Why would he do that? He knew you were blind.
I don't know. Tisk. What did I just say? You need to learn to think for yourself.
Meaning what?
There is no mystery here if you recall everything he said. Think of his last words once more.
The witness, Siren? We've heard him many times, along with a little play acting by our defense.
What? He's been like reenacting that same scene multiple times? Okay, that's funny.
I remember them well myself, but that statement is not to what I refer. I mean what he said before that.
Before?
What came before that? Ah! That's right, he tried to tell you. And he said, can't see. He wasn't talking about himself. He was talking about the witness.
I see.
Too bad the defense did not. Well here, forehead? Try relaxing and looking at the facts first next time.
Order!
Recall Lamiroir's earlier testimony? As on my way from the stage to the backstage exit, there were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it.
But you couldn't have heard those gunshots. I thought we proved that.
That is not the most important point here.
The moment you...
The moment he was shot, Mr. Latouche witnessed her through that window. Why else would he have named her as the witness? But I really did hear them. 2 gunshots, and a man's voice. Unfortunately, such a thing was impossible. The window was closed. We have already run a simulation, of course. It was so clear. If I heard that voice again, I would know it in an instant.
Your Honor,
What is it, bailiff? Can't you see we're in session here?
we have the results back from the investigation.
Investigation?
Ah, the Interpol number that Mr. Latouche left us.
Well, let's hear it. We will continue this cross-examination afterward. Detective Crescent, your report, please.
I asked Interpol about that number. I'm sure you'll find their answer intriguing.
Quick work is always, Darian.
Well, tell us about the number. Is the defendant a secret agent?
IPXX 314206. The agent registered under this number was Romain Latouche.
What?
Our undercover Interpol agent was Mr. Latouche himself, who was apparently in the middle of an operation.
So, when he wrote those letters,
He was trying to tell us his own identity, and a cautious killer tried to wipe them away. Mr. Latouche was an undercover Interpol agent. So him being Lamiroir's manager
Was just a cover, most likely.
there's one other important detail I found.
Well, out is it?
It concerns that 45 caliber revolver, the murder weapon. Apparently, it belonged to Romain Latouche. He had an Interpol permit to carry firearms, and the registration number on the revolver matched.
So the victim was killed with his own weapon, which makes sense.
It's hard to imagine someone who wasn't an Interpol agent with such a large footprint. So the victim was an Interpol agent on an undercover op. I wonder how that ties into everything.
It's got to tie in somehow, you'd think.
Yeah, somehow. Thanks for looking into that for us, Dr. Crescent. Detective Crescent. It's a great help.
Oh, no problem at all, Your Honor. I'll be heading out. Hold it! Fit!
Lamira, is something the matter?
The voice just now.
Daryan?
Mr. Daryan, is it? It was him, I'm sure of it.
It was him?
You aren't saying...
The voice I heard talking to Mr. Lotus. When I heard the gunshots fired,
It was him. It was Mr. Daryan. Is this some kind of joke?
What? No way!
The courtroom fell into such a chaotic state the trial had to be suspended temporarily. I'd never seen that happen before. Of course, it's not every day that you get an accusation like that one. Lamirar fingering Daryan Crescent. Not only is he a guitarist, he's a detective. Could it really have been his voice Lamirar heard? Things were changing fast, and frankly, I wasn't sure I could keep up with it.
Hey, no wimping out now, Apollo.
To be continued. Are we going to the investigation or is this a recess? Investigation time. Okay then. Then I'm gonna take a quick break and I'll be right back. See you in a few minutes.